All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. This is the trade deadline aftermath presented by Syndicate Sports Detroit. We are live, and I wanted to, I wanted to wait, but we just going to get back into it because I was like, you know what, we got to go live. Today's a special day, 2 shows, you know what I mean? We had to talk about it today, okay? So if you're just now joining us, there were some blockbuster trades in the NFL today. TJ Hawkinson was traded from the Detroit Lions. Jake, as of right now, DeAndre Swift is still a Detroit Lion. And the reason that I'm getting on, I couldn't wait earlier. I wanted to get an immediate kind of reaction from y'all about TJ Hawkinson. But Jamal Williams, I'm going to check Ian Rappaport real quick. I've been refreshing this for the last 45 minutes. Jamal Williams was in serious talks with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Detroit Lions were in serious talks with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay? Now, Ian Rappaport, 4 minutes ago, okay, so nothing happened. Nothing happened there. I'm trying to see if I miss anything. But Jamal Williams was up to be traded. Now, this came through Twitter not too long ago, okay? And we almost lost him. Jamal Williams was almost a Philadelphia Eagle. Now, my question is this. 1, why would you do that? And 2, why didn't you do that? So I have a few questions about this. And I want to know what happened with Jamal Williams. It came through Twitter like 2 hours ago. This was a thing that absolutely, Nate. We got that 2 for 1, man, because I earlier with TJ Hawkinson, I had to get on. I couldn't wait till 2. I couldn't wait till 4. I wanted to get on. Right now, I want to talk about the aftermath of what happened, what didn't happen. Jamal Williams, if you didn't hear, Jamal Williams was up to be traded. It came through Twitter like 2 hours ago that Jamal Williams, that the Philadelphia Eagles were in talks to trade for Jamal Williams, but nothing happened. And I've been watching Twitter for the last 2 hours, updating Ian Rappaport's page. Now, that doesn't mean that something didn't happen, but the trade deadline has passed. There were a ton of moves made today, but the one that affected the Detroit Lions was TJ Hawkinson. Now, could it be that TJ Hawkinson wanted money, wanted more money? It could be. We talked about that earlier today, that TJ Hawkinson could have wanted more money. Now, we're not going to be on as long as we were earlier today because this is a bonus episode. But if you're just now joining us, it came through Twitter a couple of hours ago that the Detroit Lions were talking to the Philadelphia Eagles to trade away Jamal Williams, and that's what I want to talk about, okay? I have the free agent running backs pulled up for 2023. I want y'all to brace yourself for this list. This is an average salary, okay? Now, typically, a running back is going to get paid what they're worth. Saquon Barkley is on his rookie deal. He is on the last year of his rookie deal. I can't believe the New York Giants did not wrap him up. The number 2 running back is Kareem Hunt. There were talks that Kareem Hunt could have gone to the Rams and then a late push for the Buffalo Bills. Rashard Penny, who just got hurt. Jamal Williams is number 4 on the list. Now, I'll read off the next 6. Josh Jacobs, Melvin Gordon, Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead, Raheem Mostert, who we just saw the other day, and Donta Freeman. Those round out the top 10 running backs. Now, I was already kind of shook with the TJ thing, but trading Jamal Williams, in my opinion, was stupid, would have been stupid. And I'm wondering if they even thought about trading DeAndre Swift. So this came through Rappaport. So it's not over yet. The Bills are trading for running back Zach Moss to the Colts as part of a trade for Nyheim Hines. So it doesn't look like that Jamal Williams has been traded. But I want to know what you guys feel. How do you feel that the Detroit Lions almost traded Jamal Williams? He has more production, really, than any of our running backs. Now, I understand that our running back room is deep, but let's be frank. DeAndre Swift can't stay on the field. It came out today that Dan Campbell said he had too many carries. He had too many carries last game. Swift himself came out and said it was good to be out there with his team doing as much as he can. Should the Detroit Lions draft another running back? How would you feel? Now, here's a thought. How would you feel if Brad Holmes uses one of those picks to draft a running back? Okay? We're not going to be on long today, but I wanted to, I was anticipating. I had the video. It was already set up. I had the thumbnail done. Everything was done for Jamal Williams to be traded. Now, it still could come out that he is, and I want to be on at least until, I think by 4:30, we should hear whether Jamal Williams was traded or not. But the early coming from Ian Rappaport, still putting out tweets, stuff is still going on. It could have happened before the trade deadline, but it hasn't yet. It hasn't yet. No word on whether or not Jamal Williams was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. I repeat, there's been no word of if he was traded to the Eagles or not. So how do you guys feel, and how would you feel if he was traded, if the Detroit Lions take a running back in 2023 with one of the picks they just traded away? Okay? Now, my thing is this. If you look at the free agent running back list for next year, it's not a lot. Jamal Williams is top 5. Why would you trade somebody who has had more production, led the league in rushing touchdowns until a few weeks ago, until the Detroit Lions offense stalled, and got another one Sunday? Lions Mania says, I want to draft a running back in the 2nd round. This, to me, is a little scary because I think we needed to sign him. We need to re-sign Jamal. Jamal Williams is the heart of this team. It's not DeAndre Swift, y'all. It's not Amon-Ra. It is Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams was a gold mine. He was a find. He is the reason that I think this team goes the way it goes. From Hard Knocks, if you watch the players, they were interviewed after Sunday's loss, and all of them are irritated. All of them are ready to win. So why would we trade him away? So my thing is this. How is that going to affect next year's free agent class? Meaning, we're not going to get Saquon Barkley, right? We're not going to put a trade package to get Saquon Barkley. He's going to want, well, we don't need to trade for him because he's going to be a free agent. Nate says that one would hurt. He was a mentality we needed in the building. Absolutely. Now, if you're just now joining us, shout out to my guy, the Dern. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Poole yet again. This is coming from TJ Hawkinson. And this segment is about Jamal, but I wanted to make sure I read this. TJ Hawkinson on his Twitter put up a wait a minute. Oh, Detroit Lions have signed Brady Breeze from the practice squad. Shout out to Mr. Poole. Always dropping. Jamal Williams, Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt, and Brandon Cooks all say stay put. So this is coming from TJ Hawkinson. Detroit, I can't tell you how appreciative I am to the city and fan base for accepting me and my family from the start. All the teammates and coaches that I've been with here have helped me every step of the way. Okay? Now listen, that's his send-off to Detroit. He continues, Minnesota, all capital letters. I am so excited. I can't wait to be a part of this organization. Been a Midwest kid since day one and can't wait to be back. LFG, Skull. And just like that, remember, y'all, it ain't personal, it's business. It's business. What's up, Dave? So how do you think this affects the Detroit Lions next year when they're going to be in need of a running back? And how would you feel if we draft one? Are you tired of drafting running backs? 2nd round, Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift. This, to me, is kind of funny because we don't know why it didn't go through. Why did the trade for Jamal Williams not go through? John says Blake Corum. Blake Corum is nice. He is nice. but we don't have a bruiser. We definitely don't have a bruiser. Lion says no to Blake Corum. I think, honestly, we dodged a bullet. I was already ready to make my video. I was already ready to show my frustration with the team. But listen to what I'm saying, y'all. I want y'all to hear me very clearly. If they were going to, what was the climate of the locker room after today? What is? Nate, that's a fantastic question. Listen, I want y'all to hear me very clearly. I'm a dude sitting in his basement. I have no affiliation with this team. I mean, for all I know, they could be sending me a cease and desist to tell me to stop using their name in my channel, right? I have no connections to this team. As far as they're concerned, I don't exist. But what I do is I put pieces together. Nick says, now I fully believe they are tanking this year. Nick, you took the words out of my mouth, which I hate that. But that was only if they got rid of Jamal. And the question that I want to know is what happened? Why didn't the trade go through? Dave, so Jamal Williams, as of the trade deadline at 4 o'clock, was not traded. I keep on looking. The Ravens have activated 2 linebackers. David Ajabo is activated. I keep on looking, and no update from Ian Rappaport on whether he's been traded. So I think he's here. I think he's going to be here for a while. However, here's what I'm saying. If the Detroit Lions would have traded Jamal Williams, who by far is the workhorse of the running back room, what is that saying? In addition to that, what are we going to do next year? See, I wanted to bring Jamal Williams back. I'll go over it again. Here is the free agent running back list for 2023. And I want you to tell me, who do you want on this team? You can be honest. This is a safe space, I promise. The number one who we will not get is Saquon Barkley. Kareem Hunt. I take Kareem Hunt only if Jamal leaves. But the Ford organization, you think they're going to take Kareem Hunt? Get up out of here. Kareem Hunt is a villain. He's not going to be here. We don't take chances on villains. Okay? Rashard Penny, he's coming off an injury. Jamal Williams, number 4. Josh Jacobs, number 5. Melvin Gordon, Mark Ingram, Rex Burkhead, Raheem Mostert, and Donta Foreman round out the top 10. Which one of those guys do you want? And you can be honest. I will not judge you at all. But my thing is this. Now that you've put it in the air that you would have traded Jamal Williams, can you lure him back? Says, I think Kareem Hunt would be a good fit. I don't know. We don't deal with players like that, Caden. They don't come here, bro. They didn't come here under Patricia. They didn't come here under Caldwell. We don't get, if you have a blemish on your record, such as his, then, yeah. But here's the thing. Nick said if they draft a running back, Jamal won't be back. Jamal's not going to make it that far. Don't forget, free agency is pre-draft. Free agency is pre-draft. Jamal is a free agent come league year. New league year, Jamal Williams is no longer a Detroit Lion. And now you have put it in the air that you were going to trade him. And I want to know, which one of those running backs, what would you like to see the Detroit Lions do? Would you like to see them draft a running back? And if so, what round would you like to see them draft a running back in? I think that what I told you earlier today, that the Detroit Lions, and this is who I wanted to get back on. I think if you don't believe that this team has to win this coming year, you're not paying attention. Nate says, Nick, I think Swift doesn't come back. Jamal is a vet you can use to groom him. Definitely not Swift. Mackenzie says running back in the second round. Okay, so Mackenzie, we drafted DeAndre Swift in the second round, Kerryon Johnson before him in the second round. Zay says, welcome back, man, says draft one in the fourth or fifth. Lions Mania says, I would in the second round, I want Zach Carbonet. I think that's how you say that. Swift, yeah, Swift is under contract. He is under contract for 2023, his last year. Okay? So again, so you're okay with drafting a running back in the second round. That's what I'm hearing. Anywhere between the second and fifth, right? Second and fifth. So what if we use the TJ Hawkinson third round pick on a draft? What's up? Orlando says new to the chat, long Lions fan, originally from Louisville. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, subscribe to the channel, man. We on Monday through Thursday. You getting a double dose today. Nate says, I mean trading him when I say not coming back. Draft day deals is still out there. Yeah. So I'm updating Ian Rappaport. We're 22 minutes past the deadline, and right now, nothing from Jamal Williams about a Jamal Williams trade. And I think it's safe to say that he's here. According to Ian Rappaport from 10 minutes ago, the Packers did not make a deal for anyone. You talking about a team that, man, might be tanking. Additional compensation. Jamal and Corum. Yeah, well, Corum, I mean, I don't know. We have plenty of draft capital after the TJ trade. I don't know, y'all. Like I said, and listen, it's kind of tough, man, because when you're doing this, before YouTube existed and before I got on the platform, you kind of sit in a room watching the Lions games, and you're like, man, am I the only one that feels like this? And then what YouTube did is it brought us together. It let y'all have y'all opinion and me have mine and us to talk back and forth, right? And I do believe that the word fleece gets thrown around quite a bit. I think fleece is like the word love. I love you, right? People just throw it out. They don't mean it. I think the word fleece is a little liberal. I think the usage is very liberal. We fleeced the Vikings. I saw that we fleeced the Minnesota Vikings again. Now, back to TJ. TJ, we discussed this in shows past that he could have went somewhere else. Hold on, I'm getting let me see. Okay. That TJ Hawkinson was going to. Okay, hold on. I'm getting Mr. Poole is sending me some stuff now. I did hear something. It had been rumblings from TJ Hawkinson. And like I said, it could have been that he wanted top 5 money, right? Now again, the trade, it's not the trade itself that bothered me. It was the interdivision trade, and I truly believe that we could have got more. I believe that. As we were getting off, Bradley Chubb, do you think with Bradley Chubb getting a first for Bradley, do you think now, does that change your mind on if we could have got a first for TJ Hawkinson? We had this Stafford comparison. Y'all didn't like that, right? Y'all didn't like that. He's a quarterback, most valuable on the team, yada, yada, right? Do you think Terrence says no? Lions Mania says no. David says no. Okay. Chubb was way better. Definitely could have gotten a first and a fourth for TJ. See, I agree. I agree with Mr. Phipps there. Nick says probably would have had to pay Hawkinson at least $15 million a year. Orlando says no. Orlando, that's a cool name, man. I've seen it with O, but I've never seen it with an A. All right, so according to Mr. Poole, he says, word is that no one was offering a first for TJ. A 2023 first. So it could have been that the Lions wanted a 2023 first round pick. But let's go back to the juiciness. Yeah, I think that's cool, man. Let's go back to the juiciness of the fallout, because I should have named this fallout. Trade deadline fallout, because there is going to be some fallout. Mackenzie says we're going to get a compensation pick for Hawk, which could be a late third. Okay, so Mackenzie, I have not seen that. I did not see that. I saw that I thought that they got a conditional fourth round pick in 2024. I thought it was just, unless the trade details updated, then what I saw, and I just saw this from Detroit Lions Twitter, that we didn't get that. We got a 2023 second round pick and a 2024 third round pick. They got Hawk, next year's fourth, and a conditional 2024 fourth. Okay, coming in again. Shout out to Mr. Poole. He says, and apparently Brad inquired about Jackson from Washington, the corner that went to the Steelers. Asking price was too high, I guess. Not sure if he looked into Chubb or not. Don't you get a comp pick if he didn't resign? Okay, so the way that I thought compensational picks work is when they're a free agent. Right. When they're a free agent, you get a compensatory pick if you basically lose more than you gain. So last year, we got a compensatory pick for Jamal Agnew, Marvin Jones, and Kenny Golladay. We got 3 conditional picks, with Kenny Golladay being the highest. He was the highest compensatory pick in the entire draft, was Kenny Golladay. Now, I think, like I said, y'all, my thing was, if we could have got a first, fine. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I think I told y'all this in today's earlier show. I'm not against this trade. I hate the fact that it was to Minnesota. I do. That's number one. If I could have got a first, that's what I'm going to try to get. However, I will say this. I'll make a caveat to that. If we could have got a second and third for 2023, traded him outside of the division, let's say he goes to the Bucks, and the Bucks decide to give us their second and third round pick for 2023, I take it. I'm okay with that. But the fact that we have we got one pick, which means that the TJ Hockenson trade can make a difference in 2 ways. 1, the cap space, it frees up for next year, and 2, the second round pick. I'm actually not totally against that. But my thing is, now we're talking about drafting a running back potentially, right? Because Jamal Williams, we tried to trade him. I can't wait till tomorrow when we hear why this didn't go through. Now, obviously, TJ Hockenson has to pass the physical, which he will. But I can't wait to hear what happened. Hey, Knowledge, so did I. I actually made a video check this out. I made a video last Friday, and it was the lowest viewed video I've had in months. It was a complete dud. And guess what? When we actually made the trade, today is my best video coming out the gate on the channel. Hilarious, right? Now, Knowledge comes in and says, but we should have traded Swift. So let's do this. We got a couple more minutes to be on. Would you have been okay if we traded DeAndre Swift? I'm going to say yes, 100%. Again, it depends on where. It depends on what the compensation was. Swift has no trade value while being hurt. Nate says yes. Okay. Now, this makes me feel better. According to Mr. Poole, I'm feeling like Mr. Poole got some inside knowledge, man. I really do. Everything he has told me has been facts. He says, and the inquiries about Jamal were just that, inquiries. So they inquired about Jamal Williams, but we said no. And I actually believe that. That makes me feel a lot better. Because he leaves, we have DeAndre Hurt-Swift, Jamar Jefferson, Justin Jackson, and Craig Reynolds. That actually makes me feel really, really good. Now, here's something I want to say. And I wanted to say this earlier. And like I say, y'all getting a special show. I'm trying to get somebody to talk Pistons, Wolverines, Red Wings. It's a work in progress. Just stay with me. I truly believe, like I said earlier, that this team is in panic mode. Gary says I'm done with Swift. Yep. I won't be mad that you are. I still believe that, as my wife texts me, I still believe that this team got the fire lit up under him. Knowledge says, RGM, not crazy, Derek. Jamal is our most consistent running back, and availability is the best thing. I agree with you, Knowledge. I'm just going off the reports that was coming out. Now, we said this earlier, and y'all got to, okay, listen. When we all knew that Matt Patricia was getting fired, right? When you watch a team long enough. And I want to say that Ian, so listen, Adam Schefter he is not an NFL employee. He is an employee of ESPN, right? If I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's even a freelancer. But this guy gets leaked information. Me and the dudes that do this on YouTube, we follow trends, right? And this is the trend. This is what I think is happening. I think if you put all the things that have happened in the last week and you add them to the things that have happened since the Washington Commanders game, to me, this screams that they need to win. So here, my humble basement opinion, I think this is what I think. I think that Sheila pulls them off to the side and say, I know you said it was speculation earlier, but that's what we do. That's what this is all about. The entire time for the draft, leading up to the draft, we speculate, right? So what I think they said was possibly speculation. I don't have any sources. Well, I got a couple. That even though she came out and she publicly vouched for them, you cannot deny that this man has 4 wins. And you cannot deny what could happen if he doesn't win. And here's what I think happened. I think that move today was aggressive because I heard, and this to me is dumb, y'all. And if I hurt anybody's feelings, I'm sorry. Somebody said it doesn't matter that you trade in division. You have to be the better team. The latter part about that, I agree. The first part, that's dumb. That's dumb. Jalen Ramsey was sent to a whole nother conference. You don't trade with somebody in division that you have to see twice a year. It doesn't happen, right? Now, I agree with that second part. You have to be better. I would love to have beaten Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Everybody wanted him to leave. Oh, I can't wait till he leaves. I wasn't one of them guys. I want us to run him over, right? 100%. But I truly believe. Listen, go listen to Frank Reich. Frank Reich, they traded the Indianapolis Colts. They traded for Matt Ryan. They owe this dude $25 million next year, if I'm not mistaken. You know what Frank said? He said, at the end of the day, my job is about wins and losses. Quote of the year. No sugarcoating, no hiding. We got to pay you, but I'm the one that gets fired if we lose. right? I get fired if we lose. That's what this is all about. So no matter what no matter what she says, you think the fans going to be okay with another season like this? For the 24 people we have in the chat, are you going to be okay if this time next year your Detroit Lions are 1-6? I'm assuming that this is no, right? Are you going to be saying that we're in the third year of a rebuild? I'm assuming the answer is going to be no. So just like Sheila Hemp, Lord have mercy, just like she said, no matter what she said, these guys are up to be fired 100%. The contract means nothing. The money means nothing. Let me remind you that Matt Patricia cannot be an offensive coordinator because he's still getting paid by us. Let me remind you that we owed Jim Caldwell $34 million when we fired him. 34 money is not an object to these owners, right? And words are just that, words. Actions speak louder than words, right? We've known that since we were in grade school, since we could talk. No matter what Sheila had to say, they have to win. What's up? No, what's going on? So I truly believe that this was a move to make a difference next year, because this is Mr. Poole. First of all, let me say this, bro. I've been shouting you out all day long. I think that you are an insider. I believe that you got some information. And if you're not that guy, then kudos to you. But you have not led me wrong one time. Not one single time. And you know before I do. Before I get it. So I feel like that. So what we're discussing now is, was this a desperation? Okay, well, there you go. So you got some type of information. Appreciate you, big dog. Because I was like, dude, I was putting, matter of fact, the whole show is stuff you gave me. Right? So, Zay asked a question about trading up. We've talked about DeAndre Swift. But let me go back to Matt Patricia and me not being an insider. Right? If you watch long enough, if you watch the same thing, you start to see everyone knew Matthew Stafford was gone, right? At the end of 2020, didn't you feel Matthew Stafford was gone? Muhammad, me, Swift. You felt Matthew Stafford was gone. You could see it in his face. You could see it in his eyes. And I said this to y'all last week. When Matt Patricia lost on Thanksgiving, he came around that corner for that podium. He got up there. We're in the pandemic year, so everything was still virtual, right? The camera is zoomed up on him with his beard. And the first thing he did was thank his wife. He said, I want to thank my wife. And I said, oh, he fired. Matter of fact, you can look it up on the Gridiron Blitz. Just type in the Gridiron Blitz, Matt Patricia. You're going to see the fact that I met him and I broke down that he was getting fired. And we didn't fire him Friday. We fired him Saturday. Everyone knew Stafford was gone. To me, it looked like TJ Hawkinson checked out. He just had that look. He looked like he wasn't there. And Mr. Poole, I read the tweet that you sent me earlier about an hour ago about how Minnesota was in capital letters. He already doing the Skull Vikes. See, to these players, I think it's a business, but I think they want to get up out of here too. Right? So, but let's bring it full circle today. In my opinion, this is not a win now because we're not going to win now. This is a win. Mr. Poole says, I think Hawk checked out last year. Well, he looks like, aside from that big old run in Seattle and the one Sunday, that he checked out. James says Mitchell has some potential at tight end for us. He does. And now we're going to see a lot of it. Because now I assume he's going to be our starting tight end. That's why we drafted him, right? We drafted him, in my opinion, in anticipation for this. Why do we have Brock Wright, Zane Zylstra, TJ Hawkinson, and James Mitchell? Our tight end room, we cut Devin Funchess to keep these guys. Our tight end room is as deep as our running back room. Sorry, y'all, I had to cough. So I brought up Matt Patricia to say this. I might not have any insiders. I might not have any. I don't even know if I could have an insider because I'm a fan and I want to be a fan first. I'm not going to be asking, puppy dog questions. I'm going to talk for the fans. When y'all going to start winning? Why did you trade TJ Hawkinson? Stuff they can't answer. That's what I would ask them, right? But I think that this move had something to do with winning later. That's what I believe. And we're going to see that. We're going to see that. Again, Dan Campbell is 4-18-1. His record is on par with Marty Morningweg. We're en route to the first pick in the NFL draft. We're picking top 5 years in a row. And the guy that started this, we've now traded away. Right. This is not a win now. But it's going to turn into one. This is a win later. This is a win. This is TJ could have walked. He wanted big money potentially, right? Get what you can for him. But you got to win. Right? Nate, that is the question that every Lions fan has been asking. How far later? And I find it hard to believe that this man can start 1-7 and still have a job. And now I'm going to do something that might be unheard of. I'm going to put Brad Holmes in that category as well. Okay? This is 3 drafts for Brad Holmes. He traded away TJ Hawkinson, right? He brought in Jared Goff. So I think that you have to combine the two now. Matter of fact, let's make this a segment and we'll wrap it up. So I'm asking the chat, and I'm asking you guys in the chat, do you feel that after 3 Brad Holmes drafts, okay, 21, 22, 23, and the trading of TJ Hawkinson, along with trading Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff? Now, mind you, our picks for Jared Goff or for Matthew Stafford is really what Jameson Williams. Zay says he's going to, even if we end the year with 1 win, he's on the hot seat going into next year. So, Zay, you're talking about this year. Caden says, how long does Dan Campbell stick around? I like him, but at what point do we say enough is enough? And that's what we're talking about now. AP says, should have tried to get a first-round pick for Hawkinson since he does have a Pro Bowl. Well, according to Mr. Poole, which I believe, that's what they tried to. I believe they actually tried. I do. I think it was a combination of things as to why they traded him for what they did. 1, he had a year and a half left. It would have been harder to move him next year. Like, you would have had to move him to a contender that thinks that he's the game changer. He's the difference maker. To draft him or to trade for him mid-season, right? Even if they did it off-season, you would have had to have a team that think they are a TJ Hawkinson away from being champions, right? Because let's be clear. Travis Kelce had just as big of an impact as Tyreek Hill with the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek was the long ball. Travis is the short ball, right? So I think it was a number of combinations. But the question that I'm asking the chat is, do you believe that year 3 is a make or break year for both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell? Because remember now, the Fords had an extensive search. They hired Dan Campbell first, which is, in my opinion, dumb. That is stupid to me. Hire the GM who makes these type of moves, who is in charge of your roster, who only speaks in the offseason. Hire him first. You hire Dan Campbell first. You bring in Brad Holmes a few days later. They say that they share the same mind. Now you have Brad Holmes then trades Matthew Stafford away. He then drafts Ife Melifonwu, Levi Onwuzurike. The next year, he trades up for Jamison Williams. He takes Josh Pascal in the first round. Mid-year, he trades T.J. Hawkinson, right? Now, let me remind you that the guy that y'all can't stand, Jared Goff, okay? Brad Holmes made this decision. He made that move. He is responsible for that. Y'all can't stand this man. But he didn't make the decision to become a Detroit Lion. Brad Holmes brought him here. Him and his giant $41 million cap hit for 2021 and 2022. I understand that Brad Holmes is playing the long game. But when does the long game become the short game? Because I assure you that it is in the short game now. If Sheila Ford is, quote unquote, in touch with the fan base, we are in short game right now. Okay. David says if Dan has the same record around this time next year, he has the Thanksgiving game to win or he's gone. Uncle Mike says absolutely let Brad hire his coach and draft his QB. Okay, Uncle Mike, let me ask you a question, bro. When do you make that move? Lion says this trade might go south for us. We'll have to wait and see. Orlando says, I agree with Dan being gone. Nate says she got us in limbo. Brad Holmes has a mastermind plan. I don't know if it will work in his favor. The Lions could have at least $65 million in cap space next year. I did hear that, Zay. If they release Brockers, Goff, Harris, Vitae, and Raymond, that would put them in top 3 cap space in the league. Okay? So that means we're drafting a quarterback. We get a backup quarterback. Do we keep Nate Sudfeld? Do we go out and get a backup quarterback? As a matter of fact, let's see. Let's see. Because, Zay, believe it or not, man, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I know I'm hard. I go hard, but that's what I'm supposed to do. So here are the top 10 free agent quarterbacks in 2023. Thomas J. Brady, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater. The next 6 through 10, Daniel Jones, Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph, Jacoby Brissett, and Geno Smith round out the top 10. Honorable mention, 11 through 15, Flacco, Dalton, Mike White, C.J. Beathard, and Kyle Allen. Now you know who's right underneath them? Taylor Heineke. Okay. So, knowledge says Dan Campbell is on the hot seat, but Brad Holmes will be right behind him if in year 3 the right moves aren't made. Okay, so let's listen. Let's not be on the fence here. Let's not be on the fence. I'm going to put y'all on the spot. It's a yes or no answer. Okay? If the Detroit Lions, let's throw something out there. You know what? I'm going to pick this number because it's been my favorite number of late since Jim Caldwell was fired. The Detroit Lions have not won 7 games in a season since they fired Jim Caldwell. They've won 6. They've won 3. They've won 5. They've won 3. And they've won 1. All right? If the Detroit Lions are, let's be a little nicer. Let's be a little nicer. What could we say that would get these guys fired? Do you think, no matter what happens with the Detroit Lions, from this point forward next year, meaning no matter what happens next year, do you think that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are now connected and should be fired together? Or do you think Dan Campbell gets the axe, but Brad Holmes does not? It's either a yes or no answer. I don't want to hear it depends. I don't want to hear if this happens. It's yes or no. Do you think from this point forward that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are connected? Vision says yes. Uncle Mike says no. No. Knowledge says yes. 7 and under, peace out, Campbell. Lions Mania says yes. No, no. So the consensus from the chat is that Brad Holmes is safe. Lions Mania says no, they were hired separately. Okay. They were hired separately. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to disagree with you respectfully. I'm going to say they absolutely should be fired together. 100%. Because who has the final decision on our draft picks? You think these guys that share the same mind? You think that Dan Campbell has the final say? This will be 3 draft picks for Brad Holmes. 3 draft picks. Now, we already discussed earlier in the show that y'all don't want to hear year 3 of a rebuild, correct? We don't want to hear year 3 of a rebuild, correct? Right? So, draft year 1. Generational talent, Panay Sewell. I got no problem with that. 2nd round pick, Levi Onwuzurike. Year 2, Aiden Hutchinson. People hated it. I loved it. 2nd round pick, Josh Pascal. Now we're in year 3. You've traded away TJ Hawkinson to acquire draft capital and free up some cap space. $9.5 million. Okay? You're in year 3 of your draft, people. They're in year 3 of your drafts. And y'all willing to give him another year. I'm going to let that sink in. Y'all willing to give him by the way, okay, let me remind you, by the way, this guy was on the scout team, the director of the scouts or whatever, when they drafted up 13 spots to get the quarterback you hate. And he brought you the bane that is Jared Goff. So y'all love the brother, but y'all can't stand what he did. So in my opinion, y'all are saying it's always been about year 3. This was never about year 1. This was never about year 2. It's always been about year 3. Because in year 3, we can cut Jared Goff. In year 3, Trey Flowers is gone. Jamie Collins is off the books. It's always been. So to me, what y'all saying, okay, what y'all are saying is that Brad didn't really start yet. Brad, his tenure has not even started. Next year is when Brad Holmes' tenure began. I respect that. I respect that 100%. My thing is this. How long are we going to is nobody talking about James Houston? Brad ain't out there coaching. That's true. But Brad is the decision maker in free agency. How long are we going to give this guy? James Mitchell. Now we going to see what he made of. James Houston didn't make the team. Chase Lucas, Josh Pascal, Aiden Hutchinson, who most of you already call a bust, right? Kirby Joseph, turning out to be, seems like a solid pick. And the gem that we know, to be Malcolm Rodriguez. No, Gary, I don't want him to hit it on everything. 100%, that's not possible. That's not what I'm saying. But what I do feel is that it seems like y'all are willing to crown Brad Holmes, and the Detroit Lions are 4-18-1. And we're not going to talk about James Houston. That's what I don't understand. Jamison Williams has yet to take the field. So in my opinion, it's always been about year 3. But it seems like that while we're all trying to blame Dan Campbell, that Brad Holmes gets none. That's what it seems like to me. If you want to believe, that's fine. If you feel that way, that's fine. I'm just telling you how I feel. Brad doesn't deserve as much credit as he's been getting. I can agree with that. Listen, I want these guys to succeed. I want them to, I am sick of losing. I want Jeff Okudah to be a lockdown cornerback. That's what I want. Nobody is wanting this, is rooting for this team to lose. Campbell is making the calls. He's the one costing us games with his horrible decision-making and clock management. Okay. Zay, 100%. He has lost us the Minnesota game. Okay. But I'm going to quote Dan Campbell. We have the players to win now. We have the players to win now. So he's definitely defending his GM, but y'all, he said that we got the players to win. But y'all the ones that want to give Brad Holmes all the time in the world when his own coach is holding him responsible. To be honest, with the start of the year, I thought they'd get off Dan. Then that put Brad on the hook to get his guy, but now I'm not sure. And again, y'all, whatever you feel is what you feel. I'm not right. I'm not trying to call you wrong. I'm just trying to get y'all to think. There's blame on both of them, Derek, but some of the decisions Campbell makes isn't good. True. Holmes has made some questionable trades like the one with the Broncos. True. That's all I'm saying, knowledge. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going a little deeper than y'all. Not yet, D. Reese. They gonna come open when I get on camera. I got to work on some things first. Here's what I'll say. I respect y'all. I agree with y'all 100%. But I think, when are we going to start holding Brad Holmes accountable as well? That's all I'm saying. And I think, honestly, because let's be real, okay? Come on, y'all. Let's take it further. We got 8 minutes. Let's take it a little further. Let me ask y'all a question. Yes or no question. Yes or no question. It ain't no buts. It ain't no ifs. It ain't no maybes. Yes or no? If Brad Holmes hired Dan Campbell, would you feel differently? Draft, I'm not talking yes or no. Period. Nate says yes. Dustin says yes. So you over Holmes grid? Or just don't like, no, Gary, listen to what I'm saying, bro. I just said I believe in these guys. I believe in it. But see, I think y'all just validated my point. Because then Brad Holmes is in charge. It's him, Sheila, or maybe Rod, then Sheila. It looks like he might have made adjustments. You think he can't tell Dan Campbell to stop going for it on 4th down? Right? Who brings these players in? Now, I think he's doing a fantastic job with what he has. What position Matt Patricia left us in, the dead cap. I do believe there was a strategy to getting Jared Goff. I believe that Brad Holmes is playing the long game. And that's why I asked y'all, when does the long game become the short game? And to me, it sounds like that you all are saying that Brad Holmes' time really hasn't started. That's what the vibe that I'm getting from y'all. Okay, D. Reese says it's only been a year. It's only been a year, and some things changed, Derek. I got to give them both more time before I have what I need to convict them. I like what Brad Holmes has done until this point. Dan Campbell, not so much. Okay, D. Reese, I'm going to retort that, right? Because you cannot stand Jared Goff. And he brought Jared Goff here, right? He didn't have to do that. He is the reason Jared Goff is here. Now, he did get essentially Jameson Williams from the Jared Goff trade. We got Ife Melifonwu and Jameson Williams. Okay, so Gary says, okay, what did you say? Okay, so Zay says not until he gets a franchise QB is when his, wow. Okay, Zay, let me ask you a question. What if he passes on your beloved Bryce Young? He's in a position to get him, and he passes. And y'all, I can't wait till we open up the phone lines. I cannot wait. What if he, and I'll leave y'all with this question. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. We'll be on at 2 o'clock. If Brad Holmes is in a position to get Bryce Young or a franchise quarterback and he passes, has his time started yet? AP says, Holmes' time has started. I just think he'll get more time than Campbell. TBH says, could we do Bryce Jameson like Burrow Chase? We could. A lot of people think that's the plan. I actually think that if the Detroit Lions pick and can take one of those guys, I think they will. I think they absolutely will. I saw what I needed to see in Dan as a coach, but worried the cap had some picks that are producing. So what if we still got Goff in 3 years? Well, Nick, I think we only have him in 2.5 because Goff contract is over after 2024. So we have him for 2.5. And at that point, unless they extend him, he's not coming back. Okay, D. says he did trade for Goff, but I understood why he had to take Goff off LA hands. I still don't like Goff, but that's only because this franchise needs a QB to have any type of success. Do y'all think Matthew Stafford was a true QB? Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford? The guy that I refused to root for? Was he a true QB? Or was he, do you mean mobile, dual threat quarterback? Because I think everybody wants a Josh Allen. Everybody wants a Patrick Mahomes. Everybody wants that. But listen, the phone lines are coming. They coming. I want to get my setup a little more. Listen, yo, I have been in like just go mode. I dream about this studio setup, and I'm mad at myself. It took me so long to get here. It took me 5 years to get here where I don't care about numbers. I don't care about views. I don't care about even being on camera. I will, though. I don't care if I get the look. I got an IKEA down the street from me. Well, when I say down the street, I mean like 5 miles. And I plan to go. I'm going this time next year. I want to have my little raggedy studio set up because I'm gonna be 100. I'm feeling some type of way. Woodward Sports cannot have this space. I don't have a problem with the guys, but they can't have this space. So it's time for me to step up. But with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are awesome. It's no disrespect meant to anybody. We love our team. We all have different opinions. We all have different thoughts on how they can go. And without you two, we wouldn't be able to do this. I don't think I'm right. I don't think you're wrong. I just think that we all want the same thing. And at the end of the day, we all going to jump up and hug and flood the streets when this team wins the Super Bowl. We're going to forget all about these conversations. But they're healthy to have because it keeps the dialogue going. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I want this to work out. I want to see Dan Campbell succeed. It already looked like the man lost 5 years. He looked distraught yesterday. And I want to see him succeed. I want to see Brad Holmes. And if Jared Goff a part of that, man, that's fine too. But if he's not, he's not. I don't care who's on my team as long as we win. That's because at the end of the day, that's what matters. How we get there doesn't matter. Look, what Les Snead say? Forget them picks. And a year later, he hoisting the Super Bowl trophy. So at the end of the day, that's all. We all want the same thing. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. As soon as I figure out this phone line situation, they will be open because I refuse to let Woodward Sports have this space. This is something I should have been doing a long time ago. All right, be safe, and I'm glad Jamal Williams is still a Detroit Lion.